video you've all been waiting for.
We've been banging on about these strings. You lot have been complaining that we like them too much. Now we're putting them head to head. It's sync versus zero. Let's go.
We have done full reviews of Restring Zero and the new Restring Sync.
So you might have missed them if you're not subscribed. So I suggest you do that now.
Well, people aren't subscribed.
Some people might not be subscribed, Josh. Madness, I know, but might be true. So don't forget to subscribe, set up those notifications so you don't miss a thing. All right, back to the review.
So today is the day we finally put Restring's 2 strings to their stringing best test. We have Zero and we have Sync. What have you got there, Joseph?
I have got Zero in my E-Zone Tour 98, and this is the thinner, the 1.23 mil. And in my other E-Zone 98 Tour, I've got Sync and it's thinner 1.20. So the 2 thinnies in my E-Zones. What have you got?
The 2 fatties.
Yeah.
Yeah, apt. In here, so I have the 1.28 Zero.
That is a fatty.
And the 1.25, which is actually the gauge that I use in Polytour Pro, 4G Soft, etc.
Yes.
And I use that in Sync. So obviously in pure drive, 300 grams. So we've got the same rackets, different strings. Tension, all 4 across the board were all strung recently at 50 pounds.
Yeah, I think mine have probably had a little bit more play than yours have. Yours are a bit fresher strung, so I would anticipate that mine are probably down around 47, 48 maybe, and yours are probably right on that 50.
So before we get into it, obviously we've reviewed both of these strings separately and enjoyed them both for different reasons.
Yes.
For clarity, Restring themselves say that Zero should be slightly more powerful, but has a more kind of muted feeling, and Sync should feel a bit crisper, more direct contact with the ball, and therefore a little bit more controlling. So that's what we're kind of anticipating to feel, but as always, we shall be open-minded.
Exactly. Yeah, put very simply, control, power, roughly.
Let's go.
So we have just finished testing Restring's 2 strings, Zero and Sync. What did you think?
Hot take, if I had to just to pick one, I would go Sync.
Yes, so would I. Why?
Wow.
Yeah.
We both agree.
Is that video over?
Yeah. Thanks.
Why would you go Sync? What is it that you like about it?
It's not that much different in terms of lack of power, but the feeling is way crisper.
Yes. Yes, agreed. I described it in its own review as being sort of silky, and I think that's really evident when you play the 2 up against each other. Sync feels sort of silky and loads of feedback, and Zero, as advertised, does feel quite muted or sort of muffled.
Yes, I used the word muffled, didn't I? It's like you got a shotgun, you put a silencer on it.
Yes.
It's still really powerful, but the feeling is muted.
Yes, exactly.
However, I obviously have the thicker of the gauges, and 1.28, quite thick. I am going to hazard a guess that if I had the Zero 1.23, which was my preferred Zero, my 1.25 was the preferred Sync that I had, I think maybe then Zero comes back into it a bit.
Yes, possibly. I think the gauges do matter. I've got the 2 thinnies in mine, and I prefer both the thinnies. I think probably what you get from the thinner Sync is you get a little bit more of that power back than you do with the thick boy.
I preferred the thicker Sync.
Oh, interesting. But so why did you prefer the thicker one then on Sync?
Because I felt like it had more structure to it.
Okay.
Like it's more behind the ball.
Yeah, less silken.
Yes.
So I like the super silky.
Yeah. So and also it's interesting, right? Because obviously the Zero and 1.23 and Sync and 1.25, all, for sake of argument, almost the same thickness. So little in it that may be a fairer comparison.
Potentially, yes. My mind is starting to wander, Josh.
Wander?
Yes.
To what?
Maybe a blend of the 2 is the way to go.
Yeah, so spoiler alert, Ben is currently testing in his Speed MP 2 different blends with Sync and Zero either way round, mains and crosses.
Yeah, so stay tuned.
Soon.
Stay tuned. Shall we get to our regular categories? We'll try and separate these out a little bit. Let's start with power.
Power.
Let's start with power. I go clearly with Zero.
So I think this depends a little bit on what you mean by power.
How hard the ball goes, how fast it goes.
So on speed, I would go sync. I think it's
Interesting.
crisper and flatter and faster. But on heaviness and weight and power,
Yes.
like put your foot down on the car and a vroom,
Yeah.
0.
Yes.
Dude, like my vroom.
That was pretty good.
Thanks.
Yeah, yeah. So 0. So we agree. Overall, it'd be
so
a win.
Power, but it almost doesn't feel like it because of the mutedness, but
Yes.
the actual ball speed.
In fact, yeah. Most interesting is that when Josh was serving with both, he kept on feeling as though the sink was more powerful. But actually, from my point of view, down the other end, there wasn't very much difference at all. But it felt more powerful to you, the sink.
It did. Because it felt, because I think because you're more connected, it's a more direct feeling with the string.
Yes, agreed. On to spin. Now, this is marginal for me.
Yeah, and for me, I wouldn't actually be able to split them.
No.
Personally, I think they both have the legendary Go on, Joe, do your little bit.
Oh, of course, it's the snapback, right?
Oh, look at it. No one can see on the camera, but it's a great view from here.
Snapback.
It is snapping back really quick.
The nice slick strings, even with all the ink on them from the stencil, snap back really quick, and that silky, slippery string just gives you loads and loads of spin, loads and loads of power as well, and that consistent string bed. It's both strings generate spin really, really well. Again, we'll get to the category, but I feel like the way in which I play means that the spin I get from sync is preferable to what I get out of 0. So one of the key difference in the actual product is 0 is a hexagonal, that's 6 sides to you, Josh.
6 in French.
Yeah, hexagonal string, and sync is a round string.
So
nice.
no sides.
No sides.
Oh, one side. I don't quite know how you just. Yeah, one side.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, round, hexagonal. So you'd expect that 0 would be more spinny, that bite from the corners, the string biting into the ball, but we shall see. Now, I would say that I would go 0 because it just feels like it's designed to do that you get a bit more of that sort of classic, that classic sort of spin feeling. But having said that, I felt like I could control the spin better with this.
So I disagree.
Oh.
I think I got more spin from sync.
Really?
And I'll tell you for why.
Okay.
I think the round profile allows the strings to slide more
Yeah.
with their slick coating,
Yeah.
and therefore more string movement,
Yeah.
more spin.
Yes.
Also, it is slightly thinner, which is also going to help generate more spin.
Yes.
So, like I was saying, if I had the 0 1.23, maybe then 0 would ramp up in the spin.
Yeah,
stage.
but yes.
Both create a lot of spin from that snapback, but personally, between these two, I got more from sync.
Do you think that could be because you felt more comfortable swinging freely because the string has more control in it? Obviously, spoiler alert.
Quite possibly, with more racket speed and going for it, you're more likely to get more spin coming out of it.
Because that's how I feel generally with 0. I feel like I have to rein in a little bit with 0, whereas sync I can play much more naturally. On to control and precision, and for me, clearly, sync. It's what it's for. It does it beautifully. It's in the review of the string on its own, I felt like I couldn't miss. When we were warming up today, I still felt the same. As soon as sync was in my hand, I felt like I could play really naturally, really open, really freely, and not miss.
Yeah.
So
there's good dwell. I think there's nice dwell time.
There is.
You feel connected with the ball. It's a crisp, direct.
Yeah.
And obviously, these rackets aren't really great rackets for feel.
No.
So the fact that
this one better than that one, but yeah.
Well, different debate. But the fact you get such a good crisp feeling through a pure drive with it, I think is testament to the string.
Yes. Finally, on to touch and feel. And for me, again, it's sync because of that silken, like great feedback into the hand, really sort of direct and crisp, and I mean beautiful. I am waxing lyrical about sync because I really, really love it.
Yeah, I think they both feel great for different reasons. I think if you're a more power hitter and you want something a bit muted, take some of the vibration away, feel a bit more solid on impact, then 0 feels better. If you want to be more connected, then sync would feel better. So I think it depends on a little bit
Yeah.
the same way that you use a dampener and I don't.
Yes.
So, which is odd, right? Because a dampener dampens, it makes the whole thing feel deader,
Yeah.
like if you were comparing zero, and then without feels crisper and more connected,
Yeah.
which would be
Well,
sync.
I don't want too many feelings. I want just the right amount.
The right amount of feels.
Yeah, just the right amount of feels. So sync and dampener would be my combo. But so if you were going on touch and feel, which one are you going for?
I would go sync.
As would I. Overall, they are two terrific things, and I think one of the things that's really cool is that they are different, definitely, but the playability is kind of the same. They feel like they're made by the same quality manufacturer, they just play slightly different.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
Okay.
I've got nothing to add.
It's always so shocking when you don't have anything to add.
I'll add something then.
Yes.
That, yeah, it's like they both have the same baseline.
Yeah.
They're both core elements. The playability,
Yeah.
the snapback, they just have a slightly different focus in the and I think power and spin isn't that similar. I think the difference is in the type of feel.
Yes.
So it's definitely not a case of one's better than the other. It's definitely a case of what type of feeling do you like with your string?
Yes.
I would say is the comparison to make.
And I felt something similar when we were comparing the new Blade version 9 versus the old version 8, in that both of the touch and feel around the court with both is great, but one feels sort of textured and gritty and one feels really like clean and smooth. And I think that it's that same thing. It depends on how you like it to feel.
Yeah, I think that's quite a good dampener, no dampener.
Yes.
Same thing, it's not better, it's not, one's not right and one's not wrong, although without is obviously right.
Yeah.
So there we go.
There we go.
Feel.
To me, it's going to depend on how you like it to feel.
Yeah, personally, I'm going to go hybrid.
Yeah.
I'm going to blend them up.
Yeah, maybe a blend. I since putting sync in my racket, I've really enjoyed it. If you watched our sync review, you will see that I explicitly say how much I like it, and I find that when I go to zero, I then find myself having to rein it in because it is definitely livelier. And it's strange to say that it's lively and muted, but it is. The ball sort of fires off it, but the feedback you get is muted.
Correct. That is a good sentence.
So very lively, very fun, but this I miss a lot less, and that I need in my game.
To me, if I had to pick between the two, as I said at the start, I would go sync, but it's very clear to me how different people would prefer zero for the reasons of shaped, bit more spin, bit more power, and a more muted feeling. That's going to be preferable. I think both need to be strung loose. So whilst these are both at 50, I actually think, as I try and find my perfect setup, I would probably go kind of mid to high 40s, maybe like a 47. And I think I'd also probably blend them. I don't know which way around yet. I'm going to wait for Ben's feedback on which way to try them. But I reckon a loose attention on the blend might be the magic.
Yeah. I wonder whether court surface makes a difference as well. I wonder if you were somewhere hot and it was slow, whether that would start to come into its own a little bit more.
Heavier, power.
Whereas on these courts that are very quick.
On the grass at Wimbledon when they invite us this year.
Yeah, I mean this is basically like quicker than the grass at Wimbledon, isn't it? That you get with the control you get with sync, that's maybe edges sync in a direction and makes me like it more. Perhaps.
There's also probably a player standard thing here, right? If you're a club tennis player, I would say you're probably going to prefer zero. If you're a more advanced player, trying to be more pinpoint accurate, hitting spots and wanting that feedback, then you're probably going to prefer sync.
Very possibly.
So I just said better players prefer, and we like it.
Yes.
That makes us good.
Whew, what a relief. As always, you must try these things for yourself. Get some of this string in your racket and give it a try. Our opinions are our own, they are honest and they are humble.
And they are not paid for.
No, but you must try it for yourself so that you can get the best out of your tennis. As always, don't forget to comment, let us know if you've tried the blend before Ben has, try and beat him to it. And like, share, follow, subscribe, click, tap, all that good stuff, right?
Yeah, thanks.